How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We are talking about CleanSpark today. We have to take a look at their earnings. And honestly, they weren't good. You can see that they're down 19% pre-market. However, there was nothing glaringly bad in them for me, at least something that caused me concern, right? There are things that we didn't want to see. There are things that we knew we would see, but Wall Street just apparently didn't pay attention to. And we'll go through it. We'll look at their 10Q. We'll take a look at their presentation and expectations moving forward. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button, I appreciate that. I wanted to bring this to you because I obviously am a long-term CleanSpark bull. I've already told the Patreon what I did today, and I'll tell you too whether I sold or bought more, what I did. But I have been a long-term CleanSpark bull, and this does not worry me. Right? This quarter was not the quarter for us to have massive profits. We already knew that. So we're going to take a look at it. If you guys don't mind, again, hitting that like button, spread the word of CleanSpark, even on bad days. It's a great buy-in price now. I mean, take a look at this, right? When have we seen $11.05? We didn't see it back here. The lowest up until the last day was $12.40. We haven't seen that in 6 months. We haven't seen it in the last 8 months. We haven't seen $11 since back in December, back in 2020. So it's been 9 months since we've seen these numbers. So great buy-in price in my opinion. Now, I'll tell you what I did here in a second. If you guys want, there is a link down there to Voyager. You can get $25 worth of free Bitcoin. Plus, if you want, they always give like different referral programs too. If you guys want, you can refer other people. If you get 5 referrals, you get $25 worth of VGX, which is actually $100 worth of VGX. So that's pretty cool. They're unveiling their loyalty program here soon. So if you guys like crypto, if you guys like CleanSpark, it makes sense to have crypto, I think. But let's get into it here. CleanSpark EPS misses by 56 cents, misses on revenue. So CleanSpark missed significantly. They apparently were expecting 7 cents in EPS, which doesn't really make sense because we'll show something here in a second, but they were positive EPS last quarter. They were expecting positive EPS this quarter. Revenue was almost 12 million and they were expecting about 15.2 million. So not great, right? We saw a big dip, again, down about 20% now, which is amazing to see, 20.5%. So what happened? Well, we already knew that they were not going to probably have positive earnings per share. Here, they gave us this update. This is just as of August 3rd, so 2 weeks ago today. They gave us an update on their Bitcoin mining. They gave us an update on cost in the quarter. We also incurred costs related to employee pay and stock-based compensation that were largely one-time events. These activities and other growth-based initiatives contributed to non-cash and one-time cash expenses last quarter that will have a negative impact on the reported results for the prior fiscal quarter. They also talked about how they are required to value certain investments at the end of each reporting period. As a result of market volatility in both Bitcoin and other investments last quarter, we anticipate reporting losses on the impairment of Bitcoin and recognize unrealized losses on certain investments. Okay, so when you read that, do you expect them to have as good a quarter as last quarter when they reported positive earnings per share? No, I already gave a warning that we probably wouldn't see positive earnings per share. And then apparently, we have the analysts saying that they were expecting positive earnings per share. So what did we get? What did we actually see? Well, let's take a look at their 10Q here. They had $22 million in cash. So that was something at first I was like, okay, where's all their cash going? Because they had 9 figures of cash. They had over $100 million worth. But a lot of it went to deposits on Bitcoin miners. So that makes sense to me. That doesn't cause me to be concerned. We also have overall, we have 51 million in total current assets. Okay, they have property and equipment. They bought some this last quarter, actually just recently. Goodwill, they have $6 million on here. I don't really like accounting for goodwill. You can see current liabilities still 12 million, so not a lot, right? They have more than that in cash. I'm fine with that. I will talk about a couple things that could be negative here in the short term, but then we'll go over the bullish side too. Total liabilities, 16 million. Okay, not that bad. Not bad at all. Revenues, they had about 9 million. So we still were not ramping up Bitcoin mining yet this quarter. It was pretty slow. In July, they deployed a lot of Bitcoin miners. We have to remember too, the hash rate, the difficulty of mining Bitcoin was going up throughout the year until the miners got kicked out of China. The hash rate was going up, so it was becoming more difficult. So if you deployed small amounts of miners, your hash or your actual mining capacity would not go up very much because of the fact that, again, it was becoming more difficult. Then they have energy, hardware, software, and other revenue of 2.8, so a little bit there, not a ton. And then other revenues of 400,000. Cost of revenues was 26.5 million. So a lot of this came from general and administrative expenses. So the stock-based compensation that they talked about, professional fees, which was due to the lawsuit that they got done with back in June, and professional fees. So and then cost of revenues. So not a lot of things that would be reoccurring expenses. Of course, we'll always have general and admin expenses, but probably not this high. At least that's what they're telling us anyways. So overall, we had a loss from operations of 15 million. Again, that's kind of what we expected. Now, looking at their slides here, we can go through them just for a second. Mining equipment and deposits on mining equipment over the quarter was about 188 million. Now, that's actually, I believe, over the entire lifespan. So let me rephrase that. Total liabilities 15.7, just like we said. 16.1 million in revenue for the 9 months, 8.6 million in revenue for the 3 months for digital currency mining. Now, let's just get on to the good stuff here. They had given us their expectations for the rest of the year. So we can see here their Bitcoin mining revenue is already at 2.1 average Bitcoins per day for Q3. But that is, I believe, if we just take what they've already done and then span it out throughout the whole quarter, because they've already mined a good amount of Bitcoin. Average Bitcoin mined per day in July, 4.8. That is way more than they did in Q2. You can see 1.6 per day in Q2. So they're already tripling what they did. Now, this is also going to definitely help them over the coming quarter increase their revenue. Obviously, they didn't have a great quarter. We know that. But they're already increasing mining capacity a good amount. Daily Bitcoin production as of now is 6.7 Bitcoin a day. So that means 315,000. That is a significant amount compared to last quarter. I mean, that's 5 more Bitcoin a day right now than they were doing last quarter. They expect this to go up pretty significantly too. They have 820 PHS. Now they are expecting 1.2 by the end of September. So that would be, at today's current difficulty, that would be around 10 Bitcoin a day. So 10 Bitcoin a day at 47,000, half a million a day basically, over 90 days, that's 45 million. So they had expenses of, what was that, 23, 25, 26? They had expenses of 26.5, and that was including one-time expenses. And we're talking about them having a run rate by the end of the quarter of 45 million in Bitcoin without Bitcoin going up in price. So a lot of that's going to hit their bottom line. We know that because it only cost them 6,000 per Bitcoin to mine. I would not be surprised if they had a very good next earnings report. Then their energy side, they didn't really put too much in here. They talked about it more in their presentation, but Bitcoin mining, this is the financial outlook and expectations, 38 to 48 million. I honestly think this is a little bit low for the year, because if they really are at 10 Bitcoin a day for the entire fourth quarter, I'd be really surprised if we only mined 45 million Bitcoin, because they've already mined a decent amount so far this year. Energy is going to be between 9 and 12 million. Other services revenue, 2 million. Contracted backlog, 25 million. Now, looking back at what they're going to do through the rest of the year, they are expecting 2 EHS by the end of the year. Today's current difficulty, that would be another big step up. That would be 16, 17, 18 Bitcoin a day. So obviously it's going to depend on Bitcoin's price. It's going to depend on the difficulty. One thing to consider is as Bitcoin's price goes up, more and more people are going to want miners because it becomes more and more profitable to run them. So then we need to acquire more and more miners. We know a lot of different companies are actually acquiring a good amount of miners. They're all trying to vie for the same pie, so they're just trying to get more and more of it. But there's only so much out there. So really, CleanSpark needs to keep on getting miners just to keep up. But I think they're getting more miners than just keeping up, obviously. I think they're going to continue to mine more Bitcoin relative to even everyone else. So I think they are going to continue mining more Bitcoin, but that's just something to consider, right? You can't stay at the same amount of miners because eventually you will continue to mine less and less Bitcoin as the price goes up because more people will get in and try to mine it. Now, this is not a great quarter. This is not a great quarter by any means, but we weren't expecting a great quarter. I am not invested in this for a month or two. If I wanted to get huge gains from crypto, which I do, because I think crypto is going to do really well, I would be investing in crypto itself for the short term, if I was just looking short term, right? Now, this is more of a long-term play because, again, they have to ramp up, they have to satisfy shareholders, they have to get institutional investors on board, they have to build trust, they had to go through a lawsuit, they had to go through a short seller report, they have a lot that they've had to do. The reason you invest in CleanSpark or a different miner is because over time, you think Bitcoin's going to go up and you think that this is a good way to diversify a little bit. And you can most likely get outsized gains in this because the fact is, Bitcoin is only going to go up with the price. CleanSpark and these other Bitcoin miners can go up even when the price is not going up for Bitcoin. We haven't seen that too much yet, but if they continue to increase their Bitcoin mining, then they will continue to go up in price. Also, when you consider, hey, what if they're bringing in a lot of money, if they're mining a lot of Bitcoin and the price of Bitcoin is going up, they already have Bitcoin on their balance sheet, right? So they're just becoming more and more profitable as they're holding something that is going up and up in value. The thing is, it can go up a significant amount. And again, it's not reliant just on the price of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin trades sideways for a year, CleanSpark and these other Bitcoin miners can go up in price. So I'm not buying this for a month or two, hoping that I'll get a quick gain or something like that. I'm holding this because I think that this is a good way to diversify into the crypto space. And I think over long term, it's going to do really well. Once these different Bitcoin miners are pumping out Bitcoin or pulling in Bitcoin like crazy, and there's more institutional interest, there's more people that feel very comfortable with holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet or holding Bitcoin related stocks, I think that this will do quite well. Now, of course, I could be wrong. However, I am putting my money where my mouth is. I bought a significant amount of shares today compared to my position, and I bought them at $11.40. So I am down a little bit. I don't care right now. This is a long-term hold for me. I am happy to hold on to CleanSpark for a while. I'm not trying to get rid of it anytime soon. I am in this for long haul. I am happy to continue talking about CleanSpark because I think that this will be a really good company over the long term. And if you're saying, oh, well, what if it gets just back up to all-time highs? Well, that would be a significant increase from here. That would be a 300% increase. I would be over the moon. It is one of my largest positions. Now, there are some negatives that could happen, right? We could miss earnings per share again next quarter. I don't think that will happen because I think the people that are covering this obviously aren't paying attention to the news reports, aren't paying attention to what CleanSpark's actually doing. So I think that we will probably beat earnings per share and revenue next quarter, unless something goes horribly wrong. If something goes horribly wrong, this is going to be very bad for the stock because I think most of us realize, hey, next quarter is going to be a really good quarter, or it should be. So we are expecting it. This quarter, a lot of the people that were in the know didn't really expect much, right? We just built throughout the quarter. So this is going to be an important quarter moving forward. I hope to see you guys through to the other side where we see, $20, $30, $40 again. I think it will be interesting to see what happens. But remember, the market cap is under 400 million, and we're looking at a lot of profitability here in the future with the cost of Bitcoin at 6,000 to produce a Bitcoin or to mine a Bitcoin, and the price of Bitcoin being at 47,000. It's going to be highly profitable. And I know I've been saying that for a while, but we haven't actually been able to mine a lot of Bitcoin yet. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Again, there is that link to Voyager underneath the video in case you want to try out their platform. It's one of my favorite platforms for crypto. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.